For a long time, I've been trying to design the perfect system for my space learning platform, but it never fully clicked. Like something always felt off. I'd come up with ideas, but I couldn't implement them fully. And the process of learning, like, it's not easy, it's pretty complex, and I was missing a crucial piece. But today, I finally figured it out. And the key isn't just about presenting the information, it's about how students interact with it, like how they test themselves, how they understand that they don't know the information, and how they can fix it, how they can learn. That's what today's work was all about, basically. And by using real science like active recall, spaced repetition, problem solving, interactive problem solving, I'm building a system that will teach in the most effective way possible according to learning science principles. And the features are finally taking shape. I can already see how this will be really good and how powerful it's going to be to learn. And yeah, this is just the beginning. So over the next few videos, I'll be refining and testing this system to make sure it truly works. And if you want to see this app come to life, well, make sure to follow along. And yeah, let's go. I'll also be improving my videos, my storytelling, so it's a bit more engaging, but I can still provide value. So let's go. So I'm gonna give you an overview of what I'm working on right now and what is my current environment and system. So here we have one hypothesis of a system, and here we have another hypothesis of a system. I'm making multiple options, multiple ways a student can learn. Then we have here a mind map that is not finished, but it's allowing me to get a big picture understanding of these keywords, of the important words that are going to be influencing the learning system. And every single one of these keywords is important. So we defined the learning milestones. This is important for expectations. And I've been grouping all of these keywords and putting labels to the groups to know why are they important and how they influence each other. Why is knowing how they influence each other important, and why do I need to do this? Because if I get a good understanding, good broad understanding of how each little thing influences each other and why is it important, then I can create the system much better in a much more efficient way, and it will allow me to understand much more deeply what do I need to do and how the student will learn. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have this list of keywords. What I did was ask AI about some questions that I'm curious about, like what happens when a student gets exposed to information. What is the best way, like, to expose information? Is it only by text or by video or with animations, or is it all of them? Well, I found out that it's all of them. But while I was reading the answer from AI, I started noting down the most important words and the most important keywords. And then with another question and another question, I kept putting down keywords. We have here system adaptation to the student performance, we have progression system, hints when the student makes a mistake and doesn't know how to fix something, how to solve a problem, for example. Then the app can provide hints. Every single one of these keywords is important to a certain point. We have feedback loops, instant feedback, and all of that stuff. So yeah, then how does the student learn? What do I have right now? So I'm creating a system, a step-by-step system of how the student will learn. When he enters my app, he first will choose a big mission or a problem. Now, this mission will dictate the prerequisites, the skills, the knowledge that the student is going to learn first. So, for example, going to the moon is going to have a different set of skills than going to Mars, and it will be in a different sequence of modules. And here we have some details about this process, and here we have the output, which will be one big mission or problem that the student will be able to solve by the end of the roadmap. Now, what is the next step after the student chooses a mission or a problem? Well, it's to have a lesson. It's to understand the key concepts, the big picture of the mission. Why is this important? Why is the big picture, like, what does this mean? Well, a person learns much better first by explaining broadly and shallowly, without much detail, and then add the details. So first I'm gonna expose the student to the main topics, the main modules that he's going to learn. I'm going to prime him, her, I don't know, whoever, and this will allow for later learning and better learning later. So yeah, then after the big picture lesson, I'm going to have the student choose what topic they want to learn first based on interests and maybe some other things. Then after the student chooses what topic they want to learn first, they will click the lesson that will teach the big picture understanding of the topic. It's basically the same thing as here, but a bit more narrow, topic wide. And this will be a bit more detailed than this, but it will still be really shallow. And this is, again, to give a better big picture understanding to the student, so that after, when the student gets a bit deeper into the lessons and in the modules, that they can understand why is this all important, why do I need to learn this? And then there will be the process of learning the big picture, which I haven't defined yet, but there will be something here, and I will do basically the same thing as here, but for every single process, so that it's really defined, it's really clear, and the functionalities are really clear as well, so that I can start coding as soon as possible. Then it will the app will test the knowledge of the student on this topic, on this big picture topic. Why do I need to test the knowledge of the student on this big picture topic? Because when a person fails first, then it's much easier then to understand and to learn better. And if I test the student now, I'm gonna have, the application is going to have a better understanding of what are the weaknesses and strengths of the student on this topic, so that after I can adapt which lessons I need to show to the student and which lessons I think he has already mastered. So after that, the student will choose a lesson, and I will choose I will test the knowledge of the student on this lesson's information specifically. Now, this is again what I said. If the student fails first and tries to think about the answer to some questions and to a problem without actually first teaching, without actually first learning about that, then it will be much more effortful, and that effort will generate better learning right after, when the student does the main learning event. The main learning event is basically when the student will actually focus on a dedicated work session and learn a specific topic. And then he will enter the encoding retrieval cycle. What is this? This is when the student learns something, then tests his knowledge, he finds gaps, which means that the first time around it will not be perfect. The student will learn something, will try to play around with something, but there will be weak points in his knowledge. So then the important part is to find those weak points and not be scared of bringing them to light. So there's a part of mindset here that I also need to teach in the app. And this is a cycle, because after finding the gaps, he will go to fill those gaps and again learn about this specific concept. And when the student no longer has gaps, then that's when he can move to the next lesson. And I still need to specify here more things and more techniques and exactly how the student will learn, but I have a basic understanding. I've been playing with AI as well, speaking to AI. I've been speaking to AI to create this system, and I've been asking questions. The key here is to ask really important questions, specific questions that I'm curious about, and I need to create the system. Why? Because AI knows everything. I don't know the learning science, but it's like I have a partner, and I need to ask the right questions to be able to get the knowledge and to be able to build. So let me just show you the conversation. Here we have the conversation. As you see, it's a bit big, and I can take many takeaways from this, many keywords, but that's not what I'm going to do now. I'm going to focus on building first the minimum viable system, the minimum viable product, the core features of the system. And for that, I'm not going to care so much about specific additions and super nuanced details that will improve the system. I will focus on the most important parts first, and after that I will gather all of these keywords, I will process them as I've been doing over here, and I will get a better understanding. I will modify my system and optimize it right now. So let's see, what am I doing here? I'm trying to describe my current system, my current process when the student gets exposed to information. So the main thing here is that the student will get exposed to 10 to 15 minute lessons, very small lessons. This is called micro learning, and there's not many concepts, but there's a lot of interactivity, there's a lot of problem solving, there's many testing, and learning more. It's 15 minutes or 10, but it's intense, like really intense. And that's another part of mindset that I need to be teaching and setting the expectations for, because learning, it's not easy. Learning is hard. Learning takes effort, and it's painful, very painful at times. So I need to set the expectation as well. Like, if a person enters this platform, this app, I don't want them to go with the expectation that they're gonna just chill out and have a little bit of fun, play around, in this game. It's not a game, it's a learning platform. It's something that gives results, and for those results to appear, the student needs to put in effort. So yeah, what I'm doing here is just asking AI if this is a good logic that's optimal for learning and encoding, if this process that I'm thinking about is actually something that's effective and efficient, and it's according to learning science principles. So it's very summarized. Basically, the student will get exposed to the same information in multiple different ways, visually, with graphs, animations, and also text. This improves a lot understanding, retention, and just better overall learning of the concept. Then after a key concept has been explained in depth by showing it visually, text, all of that, I will present the student with an interactive diagram or animation, and then I will ask some questions to give a direction to the student. Usually in learning apps, when they have a diagram or something that the student can play around with, they don't usually give a direction. They don't usually say do this or that, and that sometimes, I believe, lacks, doesn't actually help the student do something specifically to learn, and the student doesn't feel the need to find his gaps and be uncomfortable. So that's what I want to provide here, more direction by asking some questions. And here I have some examples of questions that AI has given me, and this is extremely useful, and this saves a lot of time. Now, after the student has gone through the entire lesson and learned the key concepts and experimented with the concepts, he will click a button saying that, okay, I have learned, I have processed the information. After he clicks that button, the information will disappear, and many questions will appear. The student will be testing his knowledge to find gaps. That's what I've been speaking about a bit earlier. And what are the types of testing? How is he going to be tested? In this case, what I'm thinking about are some high order questions, or actually questions that require the student to first answer a simple question of the topic, and then progressively answer more difficult and difficult and difficult questions until the student arrives to the hardest questions that are the ones that will give the biggest results, but that require the biggest effort. These are questions that require a lot of relational thinking, which means that there are many concepts that the student needs to think about to answer this question correctly. For example, here we have a simple example of the first question, which is really easy, or the second one, really easy. Describe the seasons, different seasons, and the weather we have during the year. But then we have a really, considerably difficult one, more difficult one. We reflect on how the seasons and the weather we experience has been changing, how does human behavior change according to the different seasons, and explore how different countries and cultures respond to the changing seasons. You could say these are multiple questions, but let's count it as one. And this requires the student to evaluate and analyze. This is called high order thinking. Justify a standard decision, defend, judge, make a judgment on the importance of things, and only put on the answer which one is the more important way to answer the question, and then differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, draw connections among ideas, relational thinking. After that, the student will have some gaps, and maybe he will note them down. He will put them on a piece of paper, or maybe not, maybe just in the app, he will note them down. And then the student could ask an AI tutor to explain his doubts. Then after explaining the doubts, the student could go to the material again, to the information again, and learn the same thing, to fill his gaps, and his weak points. But then the app would have adapted to the student's performance and show more specific, guided information that is directed towards the gaps of the student, so that the student can fill those gaps. And then the questions are also going to be more specific towards filling those gaps and really testing the student to make sure that he actually understood the concepts and he actually mastered them. And this is important because after mastering the concepts, this is going to be a foundational skill or foundational knowledge that is going to be built upon to understand more complex topics. And this is called scaffolding, I believe. So, there's many things here that I need to think about and all that stuff, but that's basically what I did today. I also worked on some learning science mind mapping, practicing the learning techniques, and what I did here was just think on a high order, try to have a list of keywords and think, how do they relate? How can I group these keywords in the best way possible? Can I create the best backbone, the best logic for this topic? If I can have this and this very simple diagram representing the whole topic, then if I can understand it and if it makes sense for me, if it's intuitive, then I can remember it much more easily, and then I can add detail much more easily. So that's basically what I've been doing today, and over the next few days I'm gonna focus is going to be to finish the system completely and the features, specify them a lot, mainly work on this thing, and then start coding and fast. So yeah, let's go. Now I'm gonna be showing you how I've been working, what I've been eating, some random thoughts I had during the day, and yeah, let's get going. Let's go. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep working on this, and I'm gonna try to finish it. I'm gonna do the actionable step that I said I was going to do, and let's go. Let's start it. Let's get started.
Yo! So here we've got the meal. I just cooked some chicken breast with onion, butter, tomatoes, and here we have the avocado. Here we have some eggs and sardines from yesterday, which I could not finish. And I just got some tomatoes, and here we have some peanuts with onion. So I'm gonna get all of this done, and wish me luck to eat this, bro, because I'm not looking forward to it, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm also gonna cook some eggs for dinner now. So let's go, let's get it done. Yo! Here's the meal. So we got some eggs, some sardines, some salad, and that's basically it. Let's get it done. And after this, I'm gonna meditate. I'm going to record, and then I'm going to edit and go to sleep. So yeah, let's go.